Hey there, welcome to another week of an SDR's journal. And basically, if you are new here in the SDR's journal, I speak about three key learnings that I've taken from from the week before as a sales development representative at Loopio. And if you're not new here, thank you so much for the support and for coming back. Really appreciate it. Let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. So the first lesson per se from the past week has been using intent data. Now, using intent data to your advantage. By intent data, I mean if you've used tools like if your company gives you the option to use tools like G2, ZoomInfo, even SalesNav up to a certain extent, all these tools have specific intent data where they can tell you what companies are searching for similar products in your space or for similar type of software. So ZoomInfo, you can set that up if you have a ZoomInfo license internally. G2 gives you a bunch of accounts that are searching like for your specific it's called G2 buyer intent for a specific um, for your specific company as such. And then also SalesNav has another option where, let's say you have 100 accounts of yours all saved up on SalesNav. SalesNav will let you know what employees are searching within that company, like sorry, whether employees are actually searching for your company on LinkedIn as well. It won't give you the exact employees, but it'll give you like their um, seniority and like specifically what department they work in. So what I've been doing with this kind of data that you get in place is that I've been using that to kind of carve out more time to go after or be able to like you know um, prioritize accounts that I want to go after a bit more. So maybe sequence a few more prospects, make more calls on those accounts, keep touching those accounts, keep going after them, even though you may not get an answer now. Potentially, there might be an op in the future, an opportunity in the future there. So that's sort of how I've been using intent data right now. It can give you a really good understanding of how to actually prioritize accounts. I do apologize. My energy is not as high recording this video, but I'm going to power through it. We're going to get through it. The second one is as an SDR, and what happens is a lot of times, and this works internally in different ways. Some companies, when you are, especially when you tend to be smaller, is that the SDR and the AE jumps to the first call. Sometimes it's the SDR in that first call. At least where I work normally, where we have the SDR that runs the qualification or basic discovery at the starting, and then the second call is only the demo. So I think a lot of SDRs can be focused sometimes on, I made that mistake as well, be focused on just booking the demo. And then once the demo is booked, they're like, their job is done. Personally, I think that once the demo is booked, sure, that's half the battle, but also the notes and sort of the information that you pass on to the AE about how to tailor that demo is essential, I think, as such, in helping that AE move that deal forward. I think the notes that you provide from your initial qualification or discovery, whether these are like super small things, like they could be literally things about the prospect that could be personal to them that potentially the AE could comment on during the demo, or they could be like really like strategic initiatives that you'll be able to figure out that you can use that the AE can talk about when they're talking about the ROI of your actual software as such. So I think those notes kind of act, I look at it as like, sounds cliche, but like those are like the ammo that the person needs when they're going into battle. And of course, you don't want to run out of ammo when you're fighting a war. But of course, you're not fighting a warrior, but this is just a bit of an analogy. So hopefully that gives you kind of an understanding of like when you do book your demo, make sure you flush out your notes as much as possible and give your AE as much context, work with them so that you're setting them up for success, because then their success is your success as well in the end. Um, this third thing I'll say is, especially in a recession where like sometimes when you're going after new accounts, especially in the software space, there's a lot of spending freezes and people are really reevaluating their spending as such. So I think an untapped potential area to look into is like expanding into current accounts. I know a lot of people are talking about it on LinkedIn recently, but I've seen the impact of that. I think about 20 to 25% of my opportunities or my demos that have been qualified in this last month have come from expansions as such, because I've been putting a lot more focus on that. And it's just that I've found these conversations to be way easier to start, because it's like when you're doing your outreach, you're like, we're working with your parent company, you're the child company. Like, why wouldn't you want to at least take a look at what we do at Loopio as an example? So I feel like there's a lot of opportunity to expand into accounts currently, especially, and especially with the recession. I think it's really important as an SDR to figure out, can I use anything to my advantage to break into these accounts? And for example, if you have a parent company that has 20 companies under them, or 15, or whatever, how many companies under them, and you're working with the parent company, there really is an opportunity there to go in and expand within, or it could be like sister companies as such. There's a bunch of different ways to look at it, but that's an example of sort of at least something that I've had success with recently is like not only looking at net new, but looking at how you can also expand into current accounts as such, because that level of social proof can really help. Again, I do apologize for the lower energy. I've not had the best sleep, but we'll be back next week with a lot more energy, I promise. But hopefully these three help in your journey as an SDR or with your prospecting generally. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Cheers.